What's happening, Brighton? The short answer is a lot. The long answer is this podcast. What's Up, Brighton is a show dedicated to the community we all love.
Hosted by Roger Burnett, Eric Meldrum, and Coach Mark Howell, this podcast will feature news, issues, and discussions impacting Livingston County and celebrate the people who make our slice of Michigan go and grow. This is What's Up, Brighton. Hey, what's up, Brighton? My name is Roger. This is the coach over here.
What's up?
That's Eric. And this is the 18th episode of What's Up, Brighton. Welcome to a podcast that is now able to vote.
Let's go.
Welcome to the voting age.
Welcome to the podcast. So as always, in the 18th episode, we will cover what's happening around town. Then we'll turn the coach loose, allow him to really get you pumped up. The DVD is coming, I promise you. And then we'll finish up with the final thought with my man, Eric. But before we get to that, we like to open the program with one word. And I'm just going to take control this time and tell people that my one word is eager.
Ooh.
I'm very eager right now.
Ants in his pants.
Almost
Let's
antsy.
go. Mr. Ants in his
It's a good
pants.
word.
Almost
Eager.
antsy. So we're gonna add a little dose of positivity to that anxiety and call it eager.
I like it.
And just say, like, it's go time, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know if you're feeling it, but by the time this episode's done, I'm pretty sure you're going to get it out of me.
Yeah, I'm excited
Eager.
to dive into that.
What do you got going on?
I've got overcome. Yeah, I've had just witnessing some things in my life and around life that have just kind of embraced a little bit of fear and anxiety and just overcome them. Kind of burst through and done the hard thing. Make the jump, make the leap, and overcome is resonating today.
I like it. I kind of think I know the breadcrumbs around that. I can't wait to dig into that one.
Mine is change. It's a simple one.
Who likes change?
Change is so my uncle used to send this, or he does, but he does every single week. He sends an email, and his quote at the bottom is, "The only constant in life is change."
Agreed.
Yep. I butchered that. Sorry, Uncle Bill. The only constant in life
You
is
recovered.
is
Recovered well.
change. And change is upon us right now. I think feeling it from a lot of things that are going on with life, family, business, and I just find myself embracing that more and more.
Awesome.
And I was like, hey, you can't grow unless you change.
So we're eager to overcome change.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So I that conquer. It goes back to conquer.
Goes back to
With this theme that we're starting to sort of see develop in some of our podcast episodes is starting to recur now, right? Like this idea of get out of the way.
Yep.
Because if you don't, then you're probably going to get rolled over.
Get off the
it's
tracks
kind of
when the train's coming through.
It's kind of a fun segment of like, are Mark, Roger, and Eric all on the same page? Like what they're doing? Can we gel with like what's going on in our lives? Every single time we get together and record an episode, it's like boom.
Well, especially because, fun fact, we don't tell each other what the one words are.
Oh,
No.
yeah. Nope.
We're now to
So-
the point where we converse 0% before recording these episodes. So we all come in blind, which is
That's it.
awesome.
All advanced preparation
Oh.
has been foregone.
Right off the noggin.
Off the top. But the idea of a group of people trying to eagerly overcome change sounds like a group of people I'd want to hang around with.
Let's go. Yeah.
I'm here.
Know what I'm saying? So what other change we got going on around town, guys? What else is going on that somebody that is eagerly interested in overcoming change might want to know about? Anything interesting?
Anything interesting in your world? Anything interesting in your world?
Well, I know Coach Mark, he was hinting, so I'll eat the breadcrumbs and let him see if he wants to. So Coach Mark started a new for-profit endeavor that bolts onto his nonprofit endeavor, and they're starting to try to sell the thing. How's it going?
We are. And it wasn't even like overcome. It was definitely related to that, right?
Yeah.
Because I've had, the Shining Light Company, or Co, as branded,
As it's known.
has been something that has been on my heart for about 1.5 years, 2 years now. So it's been something that, I've had that I've wanted to do, I've knew that I wanted to do and was led to do, but have found a million reasons to not do it.
Sure.
Excuses, not
Sure.
reasons, excuses. And so finally I just said like, F it, like, let's go. We got to rock and roll. Like, there's no time like the present, and just found a way to manifest it going forward. And so actually tomorrow, which by the time this airs, it'll be several weeks back, but tomorrow we're actually launching our very first high school Spirit of a Leader training. So I'm super jacked up for it. I'm in like a little bit different energy today. I'm extra ADD, more than usual, but really excited to just be. It's a 9 to 5 program. I mean, it's a 1-day heavy hitting, leadership based. Get out of your way, overcome a lot of uncomfortable obstacles in your life type immersive training. Yep. And it's not going to be your average like, hey, I'm going to give you a bunch of information that you're going to hopefully soak in and walk away with 1 or 2 tidbits. It's going to be you're actively doing the stuff all day long. Yep. And these kids are going to walk away exhausted and also probably like a little bit freaked out. Like, that was weird and awesome. Like, and that's kind of the goal is we're not only going to hopefully equip you with some tools and resources to be whatever version of yourself you dream of being, especially as you're going through high school, right? Like those pivotal years where so many kids, they either kind of come to the forefront or they hide, and they make excuses or they find reasons to hide or they come up with those little objections in their self, and their self-talk is saying, well, you're not good enough to do that. You're not this enough or that enough or good enough or smart enough or popular enough or good looking enough or whatever the hell the reason is, right? But they're all just excuses and it's just self-talk.
Yep.
And so really this 1-day kind of intro training program is really to get them past that and work those muscles actively throughout the course of a day, so that hopefully they can be a little bit more energized to go really exert themselves towards being that person that they dream of being.
Right. I think that's awesome, because I know each of you guys have been to trainings or conferences where it's just a hype fest, right? It's like you can get somebody on stage, give a good keynote, give a good presentation, and then you write a bunch of stuff down.
Right.
And then you get back to your office, and you start trying to implement that stuff, and you're like, all right, I got from point A to Z, right? I understand that conceptually, but now I don't have the roadmap to get from point A to point B to point B to point C to actually roll this out and implement it in my business.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't always have to be business. It can be life. It can be, in this case, high schoolers who are starting, their professional career or going into, college, and these life lessons and just how to be a leader, I think is going to be really cool. So I love the fact that you guys just dove in there and you're like, no, we're going to make this interactive. Like, we're not letting people off the hook. This isn't a slappy fest, of like, hoorah. Like, we're actually going to do the work. We're going to roll up our sleeves, get in there and do the work. So those are the type of things that I always gravitate towards. Like, even though that makes people uncomfortable, right? It's like, group work and doing that stuff. But like, that's where you have transformations.
Absolutely.
That's where you break through, on things. So I think that's absolutely amazing. Right. And just tell people like, if I know you're doing it with the high school,
right?
But like, who should hear about this? Like, who do you guys serve in this? Not just high schoolers.
Right. Yeah. And so the program that we're doing, Spirit of a Leader, is focused around like high school, like young adult, high school, college age, kids, young adults, but also it's really inspired by Heart of a Leader program, which was started and kind of perfected by Ryan Pinot, who's a local guy, and he does high level trainings and keynotes. And it's I've gone through it myself and also been an assistant co-facilitator on like 9 other programs. And it's unlike anything that I've ever done, and which is why I've done so many of them and been a part of so many of them, because it just fuels you in a very unique way. And that's the best way to say it. And so launching, soon enough, it will also be for entrepreneurs or professionals or just adults that are maybe stuck and looking for ways to just like, I want to be unstuck. I want to find my permission to be who I want to be, but I'm not there yet. I can't find it. When I enter a room, I shrink to who I think I should be rather than being authentically who I am. And, and it's all solely based around who's in that room instead of being like, F it, I am who I am. And I'm going to bring that energy and bring my authentic self to that room because I'm bringing value to that room. And I don't give a shit who's in that room and who's going to allow that to happen or not, because I'm bringing it to that. And I'm adding to that space. I'm bringing energy to that space. And the whole like concept around the Heart of a Leader program and now Spirit of a Leader is energy is everything. And so you can substitute energy with attitude, but it's energy is everything, and that's the whole thing.
I want to come.
Slapping the credit card down.
How much? Is there an age requirement? I'm just like every time he does this, I'm like, why would you not want to? And here's the thing: the folks that signed up to do this are the first.
Yeah,
and nobody can take it away from them.
And
really that's
cool.
What's really cool.
We have 10 high school kids. And it's and it ranges. It ranges from incoming freshmen to going to be seniors, and it's a group of boys and girls. They don't know each other. They're all from different schools around mostly Livingston County, and it's just a random group of. It was just like an open registration, and these 10 kids are signed up, and they're going to do the work tomorrow. And I'm getting messages like, "Hey, my daughter's really nervous, but also excited." Like, yeah. Yeah, you know what? And that's good.
Okay. That's okay.
And that's good.
It's the night before the big game.
You should be.
It's the night before the big game. You're supposed to be a little nervous. That means you're alive. All right, I'll let out a little bit. I've been sitting on some stuff. You guys You guys got on me the last episode about.
Yep.
Oh, we didn't even get it out of him last
I know.
episode.
That's one of my notes. That was one of my notes. I was like, I want to know what Roger's sitting on.
Eric Meldrum, what is the single biggest housing problem in Livingston County?
Affordable housing.
Roger Burnett wants to solve the affordable housing problem at scale. And I'm on the precipice of taking the first giant mother may I step towards that being an actual reality. And 6 months ago, I said those words for the first time to that guy because he asked me, what are you passionate about? And what was my response to you when you first asked me that question?
Nobody's ever asked me that before.
That's correct. And here we are 6 months later, and I'm literally on the precipice of a life-changing moment that could propel me towards the thing that I told you.
Mm-hmm.
Had I not said that to you, I'm not sure I'm sitting here right now telling you this. Had I not been listening to this guy for every time he says something that gives me goosebumps and makes me want to go do something, I'm inspired to go back and keep working towards this thing that is seemingly impossible. That everyone that I talk to says, good luck with that. That no matter where I turn, everybody says, this is a huge problem and I don't know how to fix it. How can this be? It makes no sense to me. This is America. We solve problems because capitalists see a problem, solve the problem, and get rich in the process. I don't know if I'm going to get rich in the process, but I'm going to solve this damn problem. And I'm not solving it here first. I'm solving it somewhere else first. So if you want to know what's going on, you're probably going to have to pay attention to my activity on social media because we're going to talk about it a lot. But I'd love nothing better than to take what it is I'm going to go and try and do in other communities and bring it home in a way that could be dramatically life-changing to our housing stock in this area and bring it on. I'm ready to do it. So thank you both for what you've been able to do in helping me get to this place. I'm shocked that my voice is not quivering right now because I'm bouncing around in this chair.
Well, you just put it out there, so now it's like, all right,
that's right.
You put
kind of
something
like
out
Pizza
there.
Royale.
That's right.
Huh?
Yeah, you just put it out there. Now you have the yardstick is a little bit closer.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So we're manifesting it. So 3 guys sitting at a table, all trying to do really big things. Why you can do it too. We're no different than anybody else out there. So, we like to joke around and have a good time and enjoy each other's company on this program. But in reality, at the base of this is all of us sharing with the world the big stuff we're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I think it all stems back to, if I may, just what we always know is kind of the foundation of business, which is the support system around you, right? Putting yourselves into, those inner circles and those groups of people that are like-minded, right? And that's one thing I love about Brighton. There's tons of entrepreneurs. There's tons of people here doing some really big things, really cool things. And, those high schoolers that are going to step into that room, they don't know it, but they just found their tribe. I guarantee that 1, 2, if not all 10 of them will look at that bonding moment and be great friends for maybe a couple of years or maybe a lifetime.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you or a loved one struggling with the effects of stroke? The Oxford Center in Brighton, Michigan offers a cutting-edge alternative stroke treatment that can help stroke victims even years after having a stroke. Our approach combines traditional medicine with evidence-based alternative therapies, including hyperbaric oxygen therapy. This advanced treatment involves breathing pure oxygen in a specialized environment that can stimulate the growth of new blood vessels and promote healing in the brain. We also offer physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy programs to help patients regain their strength, coordination, and ability to communicate. Time is of the essence when it comes to stroke recovery. Contact the Oxford Center today at 248-486-3636 or visit our website at theoxfordcenter.com to learn more about our alternative stroke treatment options, including hyperbaric oxygen therapy. That's 248-486-3636 or visit theoxfordcenter.com. We'd like to try to inform you, entertain you, educate you a bit, but this is pure inspiration today. And if you're not coming away from this inspired and you're not thinking about the things that you in particular believe in your heart that you could do, if only. No more if only. There's no need for if only. This guy's going to go teach an entire class of kids about if only is a fallacy of your own creation. You're confined by the walls you create for yourself, right? The bars to your prison are the expectations of others that you accept.
Absolutely. Yep.
So if you're not willing to accept those things and you're willing to do something different, this community is chock full of people who can inspire you towards your own moonshot.
That's cool, man. I'm excited for you. That is a huge, I know we talked about this and just looking back at the conversation that we had, it was actually about a couple of different nonprofits that really, and I think I've told this story before, but Roger called me and he's like, "Hey man,
what do you care about?"
in the greatest salesman, Tony's like, "Hey, I have this really awesome charity that I want you to donate to, and I have multiple actually. I want you to pick one." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So he tells me a couple of them. I said, "So which one are you passionate about?" And he's like, "Ooh, wait a second. My job is to raise money for these charities, but nobody's ever asked me what I'm passionate about." And I did, because it was at a time when I was in search for kind of that belonging, or that sense of like, I feel like I need a passion project. I feel like I need something a little bit more. If you know me, like I got four different businesses, right, that are all like growing at different levels, right? One of them's up here, one of them's down here, like doesn't matter, right? But I always need something else. So I was looking for that passion project to kind of round out, like I have the business ventures, but I don't have that thing that like fills my heart, right, on a daily basis. And so I asked Roger, I'm like, "What are you passionate about?" And that stemmed into a conversation about Mark, stemmed into a conversation about our parents, the things that we went through, growing up. And it got to the root of it, which was also something we're passionate about, is helping people in multiple ways, right? And that's really what it comes down to, is we love helping people that are in need, right, in their darkest hour, because we went through that. And also we just like helping people that are looking to make a better life for themselves, right? And coming to Brighton, coming to, Livingston County or anywhere, doesn't really matter, right? You can build a better life for yourself anywhere. And I just had this conversation with somebody the other day and it's kind of something that I really wouldn't talk about on the show, but I'm going to share it anyways, is there's a city, just outside of Detroit, and somebody's moving there. And like, the question was like, why are they moving there? Like, why wouldn't they just choose a better area? And I'm like, well, you got to understand the context of this. Where they're coming from could be worse
Sure.
than where they're going, right? Even though that city or that area may be a step down from where you are right now, that is a step up for somebody that may be looking to make that move. And that's the same for affordable housing anywhere, right? There's always people in worse situations that are going to really enjoy that, right? Where a dumpy apartment or a dumpy house, in an area that's like, hey, we wouldn't even step foot in there. That is a huge step up for somebody.
Yep.
Right. And that's the thing that brought us together, was helping those people. Right. Like I don't care what the price point is. I've always had these conversations. Like I'm going to treat you the same exact way, whether it's a $50,000 house or a $5 million house. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The process doesn't change for me, and the relationship is the thing that's important about that.
Yeah. Burnett Property Group, our tagline is your best life starts at home, and not everybody's life is great at home.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a multitude of reasons why that might be, but a clean, safe place to stay and a relationship with a landlord who will be responsive and help you when you are in your moment of need are really the two key values of our organization. And we've built everything we've done around this idea of like, everyone should wake up every day with the best shot at their life.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a secure house situation, everything else kind of ebbs off of that. So we see it around town, regardless of where you live. People that want to work here have to travel a very long distance to try to work here because there's not an affordable place for them to stay. And we as community residents suffer the consequence of that in numerous ways that I'm not going to spend time enumerating right now. Most of them are first world problems,
Right.
but in reality, they're still first world problems. So we don't get the full benefit of what living here is like because we don't have enough people to serve us. And that sounds callous, but it's true. And in reality, people should not have to try to drive 40 miles one way to their job that doesn't pay them enough money to cover the gas that gets them there.
Yeah.
Right? So if we can somehow disrupt the house building process, if we can interrupt the supply chain of homes, we're going to look at this from soup to nuts and try to figure out a way to make this not have to be the way it is. And the thing that I really want everybody to understand is like, the faster you can get to the thing that you like when you go to bed at night and when you wake up in the morning, all you're thinking about is this thing because you're so in love of trying to do the thing that everything else just becomes secondary because you're so focused on trying to accomplish the things that you're trying to accomplish because you know what it's going to mean for the people who it will benefit when it and if it comes true is enough to get me fired up, just like this guy's fired up and just like this guy's fired up on a day in and day out basis. And usually you're the one firing me up and I can see you looking at me right now like, let's go, right? Because I'm pretty low key as the host most of the time around here. Today, maybe not so much, right?
Roger's always fired up, but I know this is a passion project of his, and this is something that he's really gung ho about. And kudos to this because there's some other organizations that are trying to do similar things, and it's been tried before. It's been tried in different cities, and it's a big problem, kind of macro. Across the U.S., which is affordable housing. And, my world is real estate. Like I live and see this every single day. I'm talking to buyers, who are just faced with this, like, I can't afford anything right now. Like, I don't even have money for the down payment. I can't afford that house because the payment's going to be too high because I don't have the 20% down, and like vice versa, right? It's a double-edged sword, however you look at it. And at a macro level, when you really look at the housing market, the problem that Roger is trying to solve, and so many are trying to solve with the affordable housing, we're faced with so many challenges there, right? It's an economic challenge, supply and demand, right, is really driving it up. And people always think that, hey, if the interest rates rise, prices are going to fall. Well, the past 3 years have taught us that that's not true, right? Just so happenstance like that we broke that trend, right? Interest rates are high and prices continue to go up. Right. And that's because of a supply and demand thing. So it's really interesting being on the front lines of this and trying to solve this problem because every way you turn, if you can find a cheap building contractor, or, translate something into affordable housing that's either like tiny homes, or you convert an old department store into it. Like, there's been so many different ideas that are thrown around now, all that Roger's, exploring, but every single one of those has its own challenges as well. So you're like, this might work for this particular property, but it might not be something that works at scale. So it's like you get this like one step forward, but then you're like, okay, well, that worked for that, but now I get 2 steps back.
Dude, it's like playing a game of Pac-Man.
Yeah.
I kid you. For those of you old enough to understand what I'm saying, there are, it's a maze that you can see the maze, but you don't know exactly what is the right map to use to complete the maze. And there's people that will eat you.
Yeah. Right.
You'll run out of time.
Yeah.
Right. All of these things are true in what's going on. Like, time will kill a deal. There's obstacles all around you. And it can feel very much like, very quickly, like you can be boxed in and this is impossible. And why would anybody even want to try this? Because you got to really love the problem enough to really go through all of the obvious problems that are being presented and the obstacles that are going to be in the way of doing it, and just say, I don't care.
What I love about that, though, is like you just ended on, is you've had this thing that's prompting you, right? And it's eating away at you. And instead of looking at all of those objections and all of those problems and being like, well, these are all the reasons why it can't be done, it's something that you're passionate about and something that you're being led to do. So you leaned into it.
Yeah.
Right. You're leaning into it, and you're coming from a solution-based way of thinking, and you're solving problems now, and you're actively trying to solve problems. And that's just, I think that's a great lesson for anyone learning or watching or listening right now is, like whatever's eating away at them. And that's burning away a passion, instead of looking at all of the obstacles or, oh, well, it's been tried before and failed because of X, Y, Z. Well, get out of your own way. Get out of your own thinking then. Figure out a different way around it. And if it's something that's prompting you, it's there for a reason.
Yeah, you're being called. Usually
you're being called, and freaking go do it, man.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah. All right. Roger's corner's complete. So, Coach, if you got some huddling that's going to put a wrap around this somehow, I mean, and if it's a departure, it's a departure. It's good. Don't worry about it.
No, I mean, I hope it is a little bit. And we kind of tested the waters a little bit with this. It's more of like a notion, if you will, today. More of a notion message. And you started to touch on it a little in the very beginning when I introduced overcome as the word, and you were talking about nerves and nervousness. And it's really like a notion of nervousness viewed in our society and within oneself as a negative, right? Like, oh, we're not prepared enough. We're not man enough. We're not ready enough because we're nervous. And I like to think of nerves, and I like to remind people, like, nerves, in my opinion, it's just a beacon that you're on the right path. It's a beacon to kind of remind you that whatever you're about to do, whatever you're nervous about, the reason why you're having those emotions is because it's a big thing. It's important to you. It's something you're passionate about. I don't get nervous about doing stupid ass things. I don't get nervous about doing things that don't matter to me because I don't care. I don't care if I fail or I succeed. But the things that matter most in life, and typically they're things outside my comfort zone, I get wildly nervous about because I want to succeed at them, because I want to excel at them. I want to do well at them. I want to leave behind a great legacy with them. And so I think it's just more of a perception thing and more of a, perspective of embracing our nerves and not letting them spiral out of control and making up all these other, like, oh, I can't do this now and I can't do that. Like, take a moment and sit with that and dive into why it is that we're feeling the way we are, and embrace the fact that, hey, you have this awesome opportunity in front of you that you are nervous about screwing up, or you're nervous about doing well, you're nervous about failing at, because it's an amazing opportunity to do something great. And it's an opportunity to do something that's maybe bigger than even yourself, or to grow, to get stronger at. And the reality is, it doesn't mean that you're going to succeed at it. You might fail. And that's okay too, but you're going to grow from it either way. And so I think it's just a matter of having the perception to to embrace it, embrace the nerves, embrace the anxiety, embrace that feeling and that emotion in that moment, realize the potential in that moment, and your body will have its own ability to rise up to that occasion and deliver in the moment. Believe in yourself, get it done.
Get it done. Man, that's powerful. Well, I'll put a bow on it for today. We covered a lot. We talked about some pretty cool stuff. I genuinely hear where you guys' hearts are at, when it comes to stuff. And it's so cool, being able to dive in. And when I asked Roger that question about, what are you passionate about? He wasn't expecting that. Right. And that's just what good friends do. Right. They challenge you and bring upon change, when you least expect it. Right. This podcast brought upon change, when we least expected it. We're like, are we doing this? I don't know if I have the time in my day to do it. And okay, let's just make it happen. Right. So, when I look back on, this conversation that we had with the housing problem here in Livingston County, it's a nationwide thing,
sure,
right? A global thing. And, I look at all the other factors, and the one thing I notice out of all of this is change is happening all around us, right? It's some of it's uncontrollable. A lot of it's uncontrollable. And, we just had something heavy on my partner's heart. My real estate business partner, Juan, he had a family in his homeschooling group who was going to get their power shut off, right? Because they couldn't afford it, right? It was just the cost of everything. They had just gotten behind. It's not like the guy's not working, right? They're working. They're just not making enough to support the new cost of living, and that's a big problem for a lot of people. And it's not that I look at these things every single day, and it becomes callous, but I have to take a step back, because there's still a lot of people out there that make $100,000 a year, and the cost of living now, that used to be the pinnacle. When I was 18 years old, I wanted to make $100,000.
It was the if
six
only.
figures.
Yeah,
Let's
if
go.
only.
I'm going to hit six figures.
Right.
If I can just hit six figures, I've made it. That is not the case anymore. Right? If you make six figures, you are just getting by.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the reality. And the average income for a lot of folks, in Michigan is below six figures.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really the root of this problem. Right. It's not that we need cheaper houses or we need, tiny houses
or handouts or no.
Yeah. It's this whole entire ecosystem. It's when our parents bought homes, the average cost of a home was $22,000.
Right.
Right. The average income was $44,000. Right. So you could save up for a 20% down payment, get to X whatever, and you would have that in a couple of years. And your income to housing used to be 26% of your income went to housing. All right. You try to run that same math today.
Oof.
It's brutal. Right? I don't want to bore you with the details of math. I just want to give that example. But the change that's happening around us, is really the thing that I've been noticing of why people are struggling. Why do we have challenges? Why is there this affordable housing crisis? It's not because home values have just gone up. It's because wages haven't matched that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Wages haven't matched it. Livingston County just so happens to be one of the more affluent, communities. So it's a wider, gap between affordable housing and, the average cost of a home. All right. You can move to some other places, but like I said before, a lot of these places are step ups from where people are going.
Right.
Right. So I just love the fact that, there's people out there looking at this as not an opportunity to fill their pockets.
No.
Something, because I will be the first to tell you, there is no money to be made in developing affordable housing. Okay. There may be a few nickels and things on the back end, if those developers, and the way Roger, probably has a business plan put together, is those are build and holds, right? Over a longer period of time, that is going to generate some cash flow, but none of that is a get rich overnight thing. Right.
Not by any stretch of the imagination, ladies and gentlemen, but we're in it for the long haul.
Let's go.
So that's it. That's all. That's everything. This one, episode 18, this one,
Heavy hitting.
man.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's go.
I can't wait to have this one back. So if you too are passionate about affordable housing, maybe we should know each other. If you're not already subscribing to the program, maybe this would be a great chance for you to decide to follow the content that's happening here at What's Up Brighton. If somebody else that you know may be passionate or could benefit from this solution, if we were able to actually make it come to life, please feel free to share the episode with them. And until next time, this is not just Roger signing out. This is all three of us signing out.